Hi, I'm acoustic guitar editor Scott Nygaard, and I'm here with Michael Lewis today, who has brought down a couple of his Archtop guitars for us to enjoy and look at and play. So, Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about this first one I've got here in my hand?
Oh, this is one I call the wing feather. It's you see the feather motif throughout the design on the headstock, the sound holes, the little inlays here and there, and like that. It's made with mostly California woods. The redwood, it's a redwood top in walnut, Clara walnut, back, sides, and neck. When I first started using these woods, I thought, well, I'm going to use something that's locally indigenous, something that's easily accessible. That way it won't be so expensive, right? I started looking up engineering specs on the woods, and they're very stable. Very, very stable. And with some little experiments that I did for stiffness on the wood and everything, I find out the redwood is actually quite stiff. It's not as strong as spruce. I mean, in that, breaking strength. I mean, it will get to a point and it will just snap, where the spruce will yield and crack and splinter and like that. But up until that point, it's stiffer, and it resists changing. I mean, it holds its shape. It doesn't tend to warp into shape like a lot of woods will. Anyway, it's a very high Q factor, which means it's got very low internal damping. So clarity and like that is what you usually find in redwood. Unless it's made too thin, it'll get muddy if it's too thin. If it's too thick, it won't have enough energy in the strings to drive the top. But when it's right, it sings. It's really neat.
Great. So did you make this for anyone in particular? Or
no, I made that guitar as a showpiece to take to shows like the Healdsburg Guitar Show or NAMM or the Montreal Guitar Show, and we've been there several times to all of those. And it's one that's my flagship. I mean, that's my design on a modern Archtop. So
maybe I can play it a little bit here.
Yeah.
Now you brought another guitar here too. It's a little bit bigger, more traditional.
Yeah, this is
Archtop.
This is one of the last of the D'Angelicos that I made. The GHS String Company used to own the name, and while they had it, they had me make some instruments, and I thought they were going to use them for marketing and like that, but they weren't interested in that. So I just made some of these just because it's a neat thing to do. And, I learned an awful lot when I was able to get access to some of the originals. There was a fellow in near where I live that had a 57 XL. And so I did a lot of tracing and measuring and like that. I had to make some parts for it. I had made him a new pick guard because the original guards just disintegrate. Some fretwork and binding and stuff like that, because also the cellular deteriorates like that. So I had good access to it over the years, and met some other people that have some D'Angelicos. There's a fellow in the Bay Area that has an XL and a Style A, and so Taku Sakashita brought this guy and his guitars up to my shop one time, and so we were carefully measuring them, and it was in the middle of summer, and the power had gone out. Somebody had hit a telephone pole or power pole, and our power was out, so there was no cooling, no lights or anything. It's sweltering, and they're kind of in the dim shop, and we're measuring stuff as best we can, and it was neat though. So I've got drawings of those two guitars.
Yeah. And this is a very wide is that 17?
That's 18.
18.
That's the New Yorker. That's the full 18, and it's a wider waist and upper bout than in proportion than the XL. This is very similar in size and shape to a Gibson Super 400.
Okay.
And the XL is like what they made the L5 into. The early L5s were 16-inch. And then D'Angelico started making 17-inch with the narrow waist and upper bout and like that. And eventually Gibson started making their L5 17-inch too. So it's a very good size.
Right. The big sound. Let's see a little.
Set them up for a lot of different styles of playing.
Yeah.
This I've got medium gauge round wound strings on.
Wow.
So it's not set up for a particularly light touch, but it does make the body speak.
It certainly does. Well, great. Well, thanks for bringing these by.
Oh, cool. It was great to hear you play.
For Acoustic Guitar, I'm Scott Nygaard.